We are a pair, you and I. The victim and the murderer.
If you want to remember, remember this. If you become Rainier again, I will be here, and I will kill you. And if I become a demon again and hurt people, you will kill me.
I believe I can work with that. I hear you found the Templar who hurt you.
Yes, he's dead. He won't hurt anyone ever again.
And do you feel better?
The amulet works. No one can bind me now. No one can make me a monster.
Yes, we wouldn't want that.
So, you're Ben Hazrith, huh? The spies of the Kunari.
Oh, you've heard of us?
I spent some time in Kirkwall.
That must have been fun.
You could say that. You know, I met the Arishok.
Oh, the old one? Man, he had an impressive rack. The new Arishok doesn't have horns at all. Usually means they're destined for something special.
I met him too. The only thing they seem to have in common is a tendency to burn things.
That pretty much sums up the Antam, yes.
You're not the first Ben Hazrith I've run across. Hawk and I went on a caper with one named Talus.
You don't say.
She caused us no end of trouble. You wouldn't know her by any chance.
Hey, one time I ran into this dwarf on the road. Short, grouchy. You think you might know him?
I'm in the Merchant Guild. 10 Royal says I not only know him, he owes me money.
Oh, well, no, I don't know Talus. Sorry.
How could you possibly be a spy?
Well, it's a pretty easy job. I do some fighting and drinking, and then once in a while I tell Parvalin about it.
Where's the sneaking, the plotting, the subtle machinations?
If you do that, everyone knows you're a spy. Drinking, fighting, writing notes. That's all it really takes.
Shit, you're either the worst Kunari ever or the best. I can't decide.
Still waiting for me to do something sneaky and spy-like?
I'll see magical dwarves flying through the sky before that happens.
Good, because I'm supposed to ask about your friend Isabella.
See? And I still can't tell if you're shitting me. Sometimes you're so Kunari it makes my head hurt. So, you're a free man, Talvashoth.
Living the life. Unless you think I'm even more secretly a spy now.
I think you finally decided whether you care about your people or your people.
Something like that.
You made the right choice. So, Kunari in good standing. You must be proud.
Tolerably. Not a fan of the Alliance?
I got to see enough of the Kunari back in Kirkwall.
Hey, we probably won't try to burn down a city this time.
No, you can always trust the Kunari. Until you're between them and something they want.
So, your girlfriend is a smith?
Yes.
She makes weapons, with her own hands?
Among other things.
That's hot.
So, Bull, you and the Inquisitor, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I'd love some impressions, imagery, something from my next book.
Sorry, that room is for him and me. No one else invited.
Safe harbor from the storm outside.
All right, now you're just making it weird.
So, Bull, you and Dorian.
Mm-hmm.
2 worlds tearing them apart. Tevinter and Kunari, with only love to keep them together.
I don't see how this is even remotely your business, Varic.
Could you make it sound angrier? Love is a bit soft.
Please stop helping the dwarf.
How about passion?
Yes, that's better. Love is all starlight and gentle blushes. Passion leaves your fingers sore from clawing the sheets.
You could at least have had the courtesy to use the bedposts.
Hey, don't top from the bottom.
Passion it is, then.
Hey, don't most dwarves have beards? Or at least mustaches, or something?
I make up for it elsewhere.
You're a damn fine marksman. How do you manage that while staring up at everyone's ass the whole time?
In a world of tall people, you find ways to keep them from tripping over you.
You ever get the asses mixed up?
If I do, Tiny, you'll be the first to know.
So in your books, the stuff with the spies is all wrong.
If only I'd had you around to consult.
That blue swan flies at midnight stuff doesn't work. Most times, you pass information on a dead drop. No meetings at all.
Ah, where's the drama in that?
Oh, can't you mess up the realism of something else? Like lyrium smuggling. By the way, Varric, you write some nice fight scenes.
Well, thank you. I'm surprised you think so. They're not exactly realistic.
I figured that out when the good guy did a backflip while wearing a chainmail shirt.
And that didn't bother you?
Back in Zaharon, I fell on a guy who tried to stab me in the gut. I felt the blade chip as it went through my gut and hit my back ribs. But I was alive and on top. I sawed through the armor on the rebel's neck, back and forth until it went red. I don't need a book to remind me that the world is full of horrible crap.
Impossible swashbuckling it is. Hey, Tiny, any chance you could get out of the way when I'm trying to shoot?
Maybe you should stand in front of me. I'd still have a clear shot at all the bad guys from the knees up. Hey, Varric, you get that thing I asked about?
It should be there next time we head back to base. Not easy to find, by the way.
How do you guys live without this stuff?
I don't see what the deal is, honestly, but different tastes.
Now I just need some hot milk and some of those Orlesian guimauves to put in it.
Hey, what you do with this cocoa is up to you. I don't need to hear about it. Why go with iron? Iron is brittle. Why not call yourself the Steel Bull or something?
Steel Bull was already taken by a pit fighter in Antiva City. Thought about Viridian, but it turns out there's 2 exotic dancers in Lomarin who use that one. Identical twins.
Silverite?
Tavern in Rialto.
So iron was the only thing left.
Well, I could have gone into textiles, but that sends the wrong message.
I've got to ask, what's with Kunari and their swords?
That's just the warriors. Ben Hasrath used whatever tool's right for the job. Besides, didn't you name your crossbow after a woman?
Point taken. Is the kiln some kind of big secret? How come no Kunari I've met will explain it even slightly?
It's not a secret. It's just too big for a quick chat. Tell me about the Qun is like saying tell me about economics. Most Kunari know just enough to get by. It's like blind dwarves trying to figure out a dragon by touch. Only the priests really have the whole picture, and they spend their whole lives figuring that crap out.
Well, I'll leave them to it then.
You know what I miss? Hornbalm. It's impossible to get it out here.
Really? Back in Kirkwall, you couldn't kick open a crate without finding a jar of the stuff.
Really? You got any?
No. We usually just threw it away.
Horns itching. These are the types of fights I love.
Really?
Every day back in Saharan, I waited for a dagger in the back. Is that civilian secretly working for the Vince? Or is she just scared because she's caught between us and them? Here, the bad guys practically have signs. It's so much easier.
Well, it is simpler, I'll give you that.
Hey, Varric, are you going to write me into one of your stories?
How could I not?
When you do, make sure you describe the musculature right. Because this isn't just endurance work. There was a lot of strength training to get here. You want to use words like rippling or ripped. Ripped is good, too.
The Iron Bull's belly was prone to rippling after every meal. He rarely wore shirts as they ripped under the strain.
That hurts, Varric. That's hurtful. Hey, Varric, I was reading your stuff. Where do your bad guys come from?
Well, some of them come from Tevinter, and some are Ben Hazrath spies. But I like the stories where the villain was the man beside you the whole time. The best villains don't see themselves as evil. They're fighting for a good cause, willing to get their hands dirty.
All right, that's really deep and all, but I meant where do the bad guys come from, literally. The way you write it, it's like they just fall from the sky and land on top of the hero.
I like to leave some things to the reader's imagination. You doing all right, Bull? I heard you breathing a little hard after the last fight.
Lung exercises, clearing the stale humors. It's a Qun thing.
Uh-huh.
Hey, some of us have to swing a giant hunk of metal instead of pulling our girlfriend's trigger from the back ranks.
Ouch.
Too close to home.
No, that was good. I should find some way to work that into my next book.
All right, but it was my line. You're gonna credit me in the acknowledgements, right?
I assume you've heard about Prince Sebastian, Varric?
I know he invaded Kirkwall. Are you going to blame me for that, too?
I wasn't trying to...
You weren't trying to remind me how bad it is in Kirkwall, so you decided to talk about it?
I thought you might be concerned. It is your home.
Of course I'm concerned. I don't need you prodding me with a stick to prove it.
I hear reconstruction is progressing well in Kirkwall.
I know things are bad there.
I wasn't trying to...
You weren't trying to remind me how bad it is in Kirkwall, so you decided to talk about it?
About its recovery.
What you're talking about are the buildings, and even that will take years. People don't recover so easily.
Have you heard from any of your Kirkwall associates, Varrik?
You're asking me? So you don't read my letters?
You're no longer my prisoner, much as you like to act like it.
Yet I still get all the suspicion.
I am not without sympathy, especially given recent events.
Why, Seeker, I would never accuse you of having sympathy. By the way, I tend to refer to my associates as friends. Maybe you're not familiar with the concept. You know, Seeker, for someone with your tact and charisma, you assembled a pretty good little inquisition. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt and assuming you didn't drag them all here by force.
How kind of you.
I mean, you never know. You could have kidnapped Ruffles, and she'd be too polite to say anything.
Liliana recruited Josephine. They're friends.
So there's a rational explanation after all. Just when I thought you had layers. It makes sense that Liliana did the recruiting when the Inquisition started. Not everyone can be intimidated into signing up after all.
I recruited Commander Cullen.
Lucky him.
He's made no complaints about my manners.
His last boss was a raving lunatic who turned into a statue. That's not a high bar.
Varrik, I'm sorry. About earlier. With the table.
Beg your pardon? I didn't catch that, Seeker.
I am sorry.
Oh, I'll mark this on my calendar. Cassandra had a feeling.
Perhaps not that sorry. Varrik, does Hawk ever autograph books?
Why? Doesn't your copy of The Tale of the Champion have a big hole in it?
Yes, but it could also have Hawk's signature on it. Hawk's taller than I imagined.
That's the first thing you said to him, isn't it?
Not the first thing.
Tell you what, Seeker, next time you make me tell a story at knife point, I'll make the hero sound taller. Seriously? Swords and shields. How did you find that cereal? Scrape it off the bottom of a barrel in Dusttown?
It was research. I thought I might learn more about the champion.
I did write a book about the champion. You might remember it. Had your knife stuck through it last I saw?
I'd already read that one. Twice.
I can't believe you picked the absolute worst of my books to read. Why not Hard in Hightown?
I have enough mysteries and investigations of my own.
What, you don't want to solve more in your spare time?
Then you killed my favorite character in Chapter 3, so I threw the book across the room.
A critic. Say no more.
Varrik, how could you let the Knight Captain be framed for murder?
Well, I did spend 3 entire chapters setting it up.
But she didn't deserve it. You'd already put her through more than enough.
Look, Seeker, if you love a character, you give them pain, ruin their lives, make them suffer. Maybe even throw in a heroic death.
That makes no sense.
Don't you care enough to argue? If she had a nice afternoon and took a nap, you'd stop reading.
What made you write about Hawk? All your other books are complete fiction.
Someone had to set the record straight about the champion.
Yet your book is still full of lies.
But true ones. That's important.
Why is the second, Hard in Hightown, so completely different from the first?
Because I didn't write it. Shit, did you pay actual coin for that book? One of these days, I'm gonna find the duster who wrote that garbage and introduce him to my editor.
By editor, do you mean your crossbow?
No, my actual editor. Best in the business. She runs half the coterie in Kirkwall, stickler for grammar. She once killed a man over a semicolon. I'd never print anything without her.
She has to reach the other side of the hill.
Who does?
The Knight Captain, but she's injured.
Good job, kid.
Is she all right? Is that how the book ends?
Not anymore.
Cole, what happens to her?
I don't know. The hill went away.
I'm surprised, Seeker. I thought you'd take charge back in Redcliffe, maybe grab Fiona and rough her up.
I do not rough people up.
Sorry, my mistake. You'd have your men do it for you.
You will never let that go, will you?
Probably not. I thought you'd have some stronger feelings about Templars joining the Inquisition, Seeker. Feelings that involve stabbing.
Not all my feelings involve stabbing.
Oh, so you reserved those for me, then. Don't I feel special?
I am somewhat surprised you didn't follow Hawk to Weishaupt, Varric.
There's a lot of work to do, Seeker. We'll catch up when this is all over.
What about Anders? Will he...
If he's still out there and justice hasn't driven him nuts, Hawk won't be able to keep him away.
What about Fenris? Will he...
Oh, he'll go. Once he gets my letter and after he's finished brooding.
What about Isabella? Will she...
Join him? Once she gets my letter, she'll go whether Hawk likes it or not.
And Hawk's brother? He's still alive, isn't he?
Aveline took him off somewhere when the calling started going nuts, but he'll tag along. He always does. Still alive, still a Templar. He'll go as soon as he hears. Can't let Hawk have all the glory.
And Hawk's sister? She's still alive, isn't she?
Aveline took off somewhere when the calling started going nuts, but she'll try to keep Hawk out of trouble. Better be. Sunshine will go as soon as she hears. I'm sure of it. Hawk would rather we stay away, stay safe. That won't fly forever. Besides, if I went to the Anderfells, how could I annoy you?
You would find a way. About Hawk.
Don't, Seeker. Just don't.
But what about Fenris? Does he...
He knows. I sent a letter. Leave it be. You may recall, Seeker, that a friend of mine had one of those illuvians. It didn't end well. Are you really going to allow one in Skyhold?
You speak as though I could forbid it. I didn't know your friend or see her illuvian. If you have an issue, speak with Lady Morrigan.
No. I'll pass.
Varric, you are aware that I'm a candidate for the Sunburst throne?
So I heard.
Not a single snide remark.
What?
I don't look forward to your needling, but its absence is telling. Am I to understand your Bianca is married?
Oh, have we reached the stage where we gossip about each other's love lives? Did you hear that, boss? Don't worry. I'll tell you whatever she says.
Forget I mentioned anything. It was a simple question, Varric.
There was nothing simple about it. Well, you brought up Bianca, Seeker. Does that mean I can ask about your conquests?
I would rather you didn't.
No tantalizing secrets to divulge?
None.
So no one within, say, a 5-foot radius has caught your eye?
Really? No one at all?
This is not a discussion I want to have here.
Are you blushing, Seeker? Maker, the world really is coming to an end.
Perhaps Cassandra and her conquest would rather not discuss this in public.
Spoil sport. Nothing? You do know he's standing right there.
I have no conquests.
How about dalliances, liaisons, illicit affairs?
No.
Enough poking, Varric.
Is it, Buttercup? Is it?
Very well, Varric. If you wish to know about men I have known, I will tell you.
Look, Seeker, I was only...
You were right. I pried first, and fair is fair. Years ago, I knew a young mage named Regalian. He was dashing, unlike any man I'd met. He died at the conclave.
Oh.
What we had was fleeting, and years have passed. Still, it saddens me to think he's gone.
I'm sorry. Look, Seeker, I didn't mean to make you talk about your mage friend.
I know. I was not trying to make you speak of Bianca. If I was, you would know. I would yell, books would be stabbed.
I'll keep that in mind.
I still don't understand how drakes take that hand.
Maybe we should start you on Shepherd 6.
Isn't that a children's game?
Yeah.
Have you been taking notes on all this, Varric?
Well, you'll need to be more specific there, Seeker.
The Inquisition. You're not planning to write a book about us, are you?
Oh, don't get your hopes up. You're not that interesting a subject.
I am. Feel free to write a book about me.
And call it what? The Wayward Magister?
I'm not a magister. Oh, forget it. You just get it wrong.
So, as a Seeker, you're the highest-ranked person in the Inquisition, but you're not in charge.
Liliana's rank equals my own, insofar as our rank means anything outside the Chantry.
But you want to get shit done, right?
I declared the Inquisition, but I don't know that I'm best suited to command it. Perhaps you're interested in the position, since you seem so interested.
Oh, no you don't. Leave me out of that mess.
There's almost no mention of your part in the tale of the champion, Varric.
I don't want to bore people.
You don't want to incriminate yourself, you mean?
Oh, same thing, really.
I'm watching you, Varric, just so you know.
Oh, well, that makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. What did I do now?
Nothing. Yet. Just keep it that way.
Varric Tethras, paragon of good behavior, at your service, Seeker. I spy with my little eye.
No.
Oh, come now, Seeker. I'm just trying to be friendly.
Try to be quiet instead.
When you brought me along to talk, perish the thought. Is even terrain too much to ask for?
Is there a problem?
Well, you might be used to traipsing through the countryside, punching dragons, interrogating people, or whatever it is you did before this. I'm from the city. Think you'll ever go back to Navarra, Seeker?
Why? Are you eager to see me go?
I wasn't, actually. But now that you mention it...
How do you know I wouldn't just drag you along?
Be still, my heart. I've grown on you.
Like fungus.
I spy.
No.
But...
No.
Well, you should be good at finding things. Of course, you couldn't find Hawk. Did you really think the Conclave had a chance of making peace, Seeker?
You do not?
What was the Divine's plan? Bring everyone together and hope really hard they would all get along?
Most Holy did not confide her plan to me. Perhaps she thought they were tired of death and conflict.
When has that ever been true? For Templars or mages?
I will not mock a dead woman, Varric. She did what she could, and that is more than most. I think it's time you stopped playing the wounded party with me, Varric.
Ignoring the times you actually wounded me?
I did no such thing. I questioned you and then brought you to Haven so you could tell your story to the Divine.
Oh, what then? Thanks, Varric. We believe you. See you around.
And ignoring the fact you did lie to me. Do not pretend to be an innocent bystander. I could have done far worse, with full justification.
Well, yes. Thank you for not torturing me. I'm so much happier now.
How do you write as you do, Varric? I can never find the proper words.
You? Right? Really?
I've needed to describe events in reports. They always come off as...
Dry, boring, lifeless, stale.
You are an ass.
Just helping you find those words. You never did tell me why you dragged me to Haven, Seeker. I mean, what could I have told the Divine that you couldn't say yourself?
I thought she needed to see the chest hair for herself.
Say again?
I thought she needed to hear it from the horse's mouth, as it were. I also knew she would ask you to help us.
Help the Inquisition? Me?
A crazy thought, I know. Yet here you are.
Varric, you joined the Inquisition when Seeker Pendergast questioned you.
She was very insistent that I help.
Interesting.
What's interesting?
It's surprising that an elven apostate is the one who joined the Inquisition voluntarily. Is it true that the entire dwarven economy relies upon lyrium?
Mostly. We've got the Nug market cornered as well.
And the dwarves of Orzammar have never studied lyrium?
Well, if they have, they certainly haven't shared anything up here. Why?
It is the source of all magic, save that which mages bring themselves. Dwarves alone have the ability to mine it safely. I wondered if they had sought to learn more.
The folks back in Orzammar don't care much about anything but tradition.
Do you ever miss life beneath the earth? The call of the stone?
Nah, whatever the stone, capital S, is, it was gone by the time my parents had me.
But do you miss it?
How could I miss what I never had? But say I did have that sense, that connection to the stone. What would it cost me? Would I lose my friends up here? Would I stop telling stories? I like who I am. If I want to hear songs, I'll go to the tavern.
You are wiser than most. I find the fall of the Dwarven lands confusing.
What's so confusing about endless darkspawn?
A great deal. Although that is a different matter. Dwarves control the flow of lyrium. They could tighten their grip on it.
It's hard to get the attention of the humans when the darkspawn aren't up here messing with their stuff.
You're active in the Carter. You know your people could tug the purse strings. You could claim sovereign land on the surface, or demand help restoring the Dwarven kingdom, but you don't.
You're not saying anything I haven't said myself, Chuckles. Orzammar is what it is.
Is there at least a movement to reunite Orzammar and Kalsharok?
What is it with you, Chuckles? Why do you care so much about the dwarves?
Once, in the Fade, I saw the memory of a man who lived alone on an island. Most of his tribe had fallen to beasts or disease. His wife had died in childbirth. He was the only one left. He could have struck out on his own, to find a new land, a new people. But he stayed. He spent every day catching fish in a little boat. Every night drinking fermented fruit juice and watching the stars.
I can think of worse lives.
How can you be happy surrendering? Knowing it'll all end with you. How can you not fight?
I suppose it depends on the quality of the fermented fruit juice.
So it seems. I am sorry to have bothered you with my questions about your people, Varic. I see so much of this world in dreams. Humans, my own people, even Kunari. Dwarves alone were lost to me. Save scattered fragments of memory where some spirit cared to watch. Now I know why I see so little.
And why is that?
Dwarves are the severed arm of a once mighty hero, lying in a pool of blood, undirected. Whatever skill at arms it had, gone forever. Although it might twitch to give the appearance of life, it will never dream.
I'd avoid mentioning that to any Carta, Chuckles. They might not take it the right way. What is it with you and the doom stuff? Are you always this cheery, or is the hole in the sky getting to you?
I've no idea what you mean.
All the fallen empire crap you go on about. What's so great about empires anyway? So we lost the deep roads, and Orzammar is too proud to ask for help. So what? We're not Orzammar, and we're not our empire. There are tens of thousands of us living up here in the sunlight now, and it's not that bad. Life goes on. It's just different than it used to be.
And you have no concept of what that difference cost you.
Oh, I know what it didn't cost me. I'm still here, even after all those tigers fell.
You truly are content to sit in the sun, never wondering what you could have been, never fighting back.
You've got it all wrong, Chuckles. This is fighting back.
How does passively accepting your fate constitute a fight?
In that story of yours, the fisherman watching the stars dying alone, you thought he gave up, right?
Yes.
But he went on living. He lost everyone, but he still got up every morning. He made a life, even if it was alone. That's the world. Everything you build, it tears down. Everything you've got, it takes. And it's gone forever. The only choices you get are to lie down and die or keep going. He kept going. That's as close to beating the world as anyone gets.
Well said. Perhaps I was mistaken. Varic, you fought Corypheus once before.
Not my fondest memory, but yes, I did.
And you killed him. You were certain of his death.
Yes? What's on your mind, Chuckles?
He survived the explosion that destroyed the Conclave. If he can live through a blast that levels a mountaintop, we would do well to determine how.
Even if we knew, would that help us? The Wardens couldn't kill him, and they had 1,000 years to figure it out.
The Grey Wardens allow elves and dwarves into their ranks?
Kunari too, I imagine. They don't care about titles or blood, just stopping the blight.
A pity they do it so badly, then.
Would you care to repeat that?
Argue if you like. Your fight against the Darkspawn is noble, but what progress have you made?
Give them some credit. It's not like you can study the Blight safely. I may not like everything they've done, but without the Wardens, we'd all be blighted by now.
They've bought us some time. I will grant them that.
Did you see the look on those nobles' faces back at the Winter Palace, Chuckles?
They seemed unaccustomed to seeing elves without servants' livery, or dwarves at all.
Priceless. That's definitely going in my next story.
Are you planning a chapter filled with courtly intrigue?
Close. I need to describe the face someone makes when they choke down something terrible. Hey, Chuckles, do you ever play Wicked Grace?
I'm not much of a gambler anymore.
You don't have to play for real coin. That's just for keeping score.
What do you play for?
Conversation, mostly. That way I win no matter how the cards fall.
That crossbow is remarkable, Varic. I am surprised the dwarves have not made more of them.
The woman who made Bianca would rather that not happen. Wars are bloody enough as it is. A crossbow that fires this far and this quickly, with so little training, every battle would be a massacre.
Indeed. I am surprised, not disappointed. I have heard that your books are very popular, Master Tethras.
I do all right.
I am glad of it.
Really? No sarcasm? No superior attitude?
We live in a dark and angry time, Child of the Stone. So much of what people believe has come crashing down. If you bring them a little peace with the worlds you make between the pages, you have done more than most.
So here we are, Elf, cleaning up another human mess.
Who you calling Elfie, Jackhole?
Not you, other Elf.
What would the Inquisition do without our stabilizing influence, Master Tethras?
I assume they'd just start burning things.
That does sound like most humans I know.
If you gentlemen are quite finished...
Now, don't get touchy. We're just here to lend you simple humans our help.
Before you cause everything to explode.
Again? You know what I like about you, Chuckles? Your boundless optimism.
It's comforting that whatever qualities I lack, you'll invent for me, Varic.
No, really. Why else would an elven apostate help crazy chantry folk close a hole in the sky?
When you put it like that, I must concede your point. By the end of Hard in Hightown, almost every character is revealed as a spy or a traitor.
Wait, you read my book?
It was in the Inquisition library. Everyone but Donnan turned out to be in disguise. Is that common?
Are we still talking about books, or are you asking if everyone I know is a secret agent?
Are there many tricksters in dwarven literature?
A handful, but they're the exception. Mostly they're just honoring the ancestors. It's very dull stuff. Human literature. Now there's where you'll find the tricky, clever, really deceitful types.
Curious.
Not really. Dwarves write how they want things to be. Humans write to figure out how things are. You really spend most of your time in the Fade?
As much as is possible. The Fade contains a wealth of knowledge for those who know where to look.
Sure, but I don't know how you dream, let alone wander around in there. Especially when the shit that comes out of the Fade generally seems pretty cranky.
So are humans, but we continue to interact with them, when we must.
So, who do you think is the toughest, Josephine, Liliana, or Cassandra?
I'm right here, you know.
That doesn't rule you out, Seeker.
Cullen's not up for consideration?
Curly? They just keep him around to look pretty. So, Enchanter to the Imperial Court. That's a fancy title.
How very observant.
Why aren't you holed up with the Empress in Halam Shiral?
Grand Duke Gaspard laid siege to the city while I was attending to business for the Circle.
Lucky for you, I guess.
The Circle's shattered, the Empire is at war, and the Divine is dead. Only an imbecile would consider this lucky.
You've got to have a few good stories about the court. Intrigue, scandals, seductions.
I do, but it doesn't necessarily follow that I would share them.
Not even an amusing anecdote? You don't want a chance to bring someone down or boast a little?
Not to you, darling. Where's the benefit there? Do say whatever you're thinking, darling. If you hold it in any longer, your face will split apart.
No, I don't want to bother you.
It's your face.
It's just, I was wondering how you got your nickname, Madame de Fer.
It was kindly bestowed by a marquise, sadly no longer with us.
All right, that's a good one. I'm writing that down for later.
Am I to understand that you are writing a book about me?
Well, it's just notes right now.
What kind of book is it?
I was planning on a political thriller, some backstabbing, power-grabbing, maybe a murder or two. The Winter Palace was kind of inspiring, and apparently I've got plenty of readers there. I've never really done an Orlesian serial. It's a gamble, but you never know.
And what role do I play in this thriller of yours?
Actually, you're the villain. All right, how much trouble am I in for this book?
Don't be ridiculous, darling. Why would you be in trouble?
For the villain thing?
Not at all. I find it delightful.
Seriously?
My dear, if I didn't want people to fear me, I wouldn't dress like this. The book is perfect. Varrik, darling, what manner of villain am I in your novel?
You're the, scheming Duchess? Coldly maneuvering her political rivals into a trap?
Yes, but what am I wearing? You're not going to describe me in anything less than the latest fashions, are you?
I'm going to spend the next few weeks researching Orlesian gowns, aren't I?
Yes, my dear. And my mask should be inlaid with opals. How many chapters will this book be, Varrik, dear?
Well, the first one will come out in 12 chapters.
The first one?
I've read enough Orlesian fiction to know you never tell a story there in fewer than 3 complete books. They think you're just warming up after one.
And what happens to the scheming Duchess in the first book?
Are you asking for spoilers, Madame de Fer?
Hints, darling, not spoilers. You never answered my question, Varrik, darling.
You still want hints for how my unfinished serial will turn out?
I'm providing you with details of Orlesian court life. Shouldn't you owe me something in return?
I already gave you a big one, Iron Lady.
Oh, really?
Really? If the book is a trilogy, what are the odds the villain can be defeated in book 1?
That will do. Tell me, Varrik, who is the protagonist of this serial?
You know, we're so far into spoiler territory right now, I think I'd better stop talking.
Come now, darling, you can tell me.
Not on your life, Iron Lady. The best way to ensure a book's never finished is to tell someone your entire plot.
Aren't you rather wealthy to be dirtying your hands like this, Varrik?
Nobody told me there was a cutoff. Besides, Iron Lady, you're no poorer than me.
I just don't see any profit that would motivate a member of the Merchants Guild to fight.
I don't know. Not being killed by rampaging demons seems as good as gold to me. I have a serious question for you, Iron Lady.
I can hardly wait.
In the Imperial Court, if someone uses the wrong fork at dinner, is that worse than death or just social suicide?
It's impossible to say, my dear. Anyone who has ever so misstepped was stabbed to death with the proper fork. I cannot understand, Varrik, how someone born into wealth and power would choose to live like a peasant.
Let's be fair. I live like a rich peasant.
You ignore your peers and spend your time among labourers and criminals in taverns.
I wish. These days, it's all outposts and marching.
You know perfectly well what I mean, darling.
Look, all those things you like about nobility, power, wealth, notoriety, those are the things I hate about it.
You have very peculiar tastes.
Just wait until you meet my friends.
Varrik, darling, what's the name of your tailor?
Why? I don't think he makes anything in your size.
I want to send a sternly worded letter. Am I to understand, Varrik, that you knew the apostate who destroyed Kirkwall's chantry?
Unfortunately, yes.
What could he possibly have hoped to accomplish with such madness?
Exactly what he got. A whole lot of innocent people killing each other.
I take it he's no longer on your Winter's End gift list.
Depends. Does a flaming sack of Bronto dung count as a gift?
Only if you tie it with a silk ribbon, my dear.
Your accent's not Orlesian, Iron Lady. Where are you from originally?
I was born in Wycombe, if you must know.
You're a fellow marcher?
Wycombe is a civilized city-state, unlike some.
Yeah, Starkhaven is pretty much a collection of howling barbarians.
Which is just slightly less foul than Tantervale. I suppose you support the chantry as a business decision, Varrik?
No, it's more of a personal decision.
Really? You can't possibly be one of the faithful.
I don't like seeing them explode and destroy cities. Faith's not really a big factor there.
You know, Varrik, darling, I read your Hard in Hightown.
You did? Seriously?
Most of the Imperial Court did. It was in fashion a few winters ago.
Just how much gold is my publisher stealing from me? So, what exactly is the deal with the Friends of Red Jenny?
Why you lot always on about this? There's no deal. You just do things.
Just things like whatever?
Just things.
Like the, 100 or so groups in Kirkwall that sat around all night dressed as guards or exotic dancers, waiting to jump out and hit someone?
Nah, a friend shut them out. But they were legend, right?
You were in Denerim, huh?
I've been lots of places.
From what I've heard, the Jenny thing wasn't so playful down there.
Right, well, everyone knows an arse or two.
I'm just saying, it seems like you're not having the effect you could.
Well, hello, third arse.
Seriously, Buttercup, nothing about the way you run things could possibly work.
They work. They've done more. This is just what I do.
Well, what you do doesn't make sense.
Oh, yeah? Well, you don't make sense either.
Should I push, or am I just setting myself up for your face doesn't make sense?
Shut it! You're not better than me, you know.
When did that come up?
So what if you have friends who do shit for you and are organised?
I'm pretty sure we were never having this fight, Buttercup. And probably still aren't. You know, Buttercup, you might get better results from your friends if you planned ahead a little.
See? That's how I know you're not really one of us. You think like a noble.
Nah, I'm more of a pretender, really.
You what?
I'll keep acting like a big shot and hope it sticks. That's pretty much how the surface dwarf thing works. Doesn't matter. Point is, if you put a little work in, you could pull off much bigger pranks. Think about it. So you bagged the silver, sent letters the first night, then 6 friends by the river?
Bartered the keys and never even saw Lordy. Half the fun, but that's all right. Twice the take.
Ah, that was just the start, Buttercup. A maneuver to increase pressure and reward in a secondary caper.
Yeah. A what?
You two aren't causing too much trouble, I hope.
Causing? No. Harnessing is a better word.
Smarty Pants here really knows how to wring them out.
I'm sure this spirit of cooperation will benefit the Inquisition somehow.
I would say we have indeed made investments that will flower in future dividends.
I'm buying you 2 crowns. Do you think anyone heard?
Yes, but if you plan it right, it doesn't matter. Then you publish.
That problem you had down the Bannorn? Fixed it.
Now, why would you think I had concerns out that way?
I'm still better at having chatty friends. Anyway, your caravan got away.
Hypothetically, how many people did that cost?
1 angry cook and a side of bad pork. The shits stop a search as well as anything. Not every plan needs days and ropes and stuff. So, Bianca.
Nope, not going there.
That's what she said. Probably. Because you two are friggin' weird.
Fair point, Buttercup. Fair point.
Why don't you have real Bianca instead of fingering your fake?
It's complicated.
But you handle things. Secret network and all that.
Dwarven ways are dug in deep. Let's just say I don't quite have the reach. She lacks a certain flexibility.
Pity. Now I wonder how you two look naked.
We're dwarves, so like I said, I don't have the... You know, I'll just leave that one to you.
What? Who names their bow? It's just a thing. That's stupid.
It's a crossbow. One of a kind. And far smarter than current company.
Oh, kiss it already. And tell Booty, Coty, and other Booty I'm real sorry.
We're a very forgiving family.
Dwarves are weird.
No argument here.
Oh, you're doing this wrong. I think it bugs her that dwarves are so smooshy.
We are adorable.
You're just itchy. With your hair and words.
But still irresistibly cute. It's my burden to bear. Be careful, Buttercup. These sorts of romances don't often end well.
What sorts? What are you on about now?
You've bagged yourself a rare breed, the driver of a story, a protagonist. And a good story, well, that's about hurting good characters and seeing how they react. I've seen it and wrote it 1,000 times. Expect some dramatic bumps in the road, that's all.
She's human. Not whatever you said, weirdie. La 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 la, sentinels are shits.
Like it or not, Buttercup, that's where you come from.
Says the undwarfiest dwarf ever.
Fair enough. Paragons can be shits too.
Aren't you supposed to tell fun stories? Why are they all so boring?
See, I'd be offended if I didn't know your boring actually means made of words. Buttercup, the kitchen's missing all their lard. Was that you?
Yeah.
You know, I don't even want to ask what you did with it. I just want to say, nice work.
So why are you here, slumming it with us lowlies? Get your fun that way?
You've seen nobles. You think I'd get any fun hanging out with them?
Right. Them.
Enjoying the Inquisition so far, Buttercup?
Oh, sure, right. Happy as a pig in clover.
Shit.
What?
The phrase is commonly happy as a pig in shit.
Really? Ugh. Nature's rubbish.
No argument there.
All right, why Buttercup?
You seem the type. Or exactly not the type. I forget how these things are supposed to work sometimes.
You don't forget anything.
And you noticed. That's why you're Buttercup.
I don't know why you're so smug. I know way more people than you.
Quality over quantity.
Winner over loser. I read one of your books, Varrik.
The whole book?
Shut it. Anyway, it was boring. Your adventures are boring. I've seen way better just walking around.
Well, that's because you do things. Escapist fiction for you would be cross-stitch or knitting.
Oh, knitting is brilliant. It's stabby sewing. I get it. All right. You have better friends somewhere else.
I'm not used to being so uninvolved in my own conversations. What did I do now?
Oh, growly. Never eye to eye. You miss people. Fine. Are you full up or something?
Look, Buttercup, it's hard to start a new story before you set down the old one.
Ugh, again with books. Get a ruddy shelf. You know, that holds more than one.
That was almost a coherent metaphor.
Piss off. Oh, thanks. Oh, piss off.
You're eyeing Bianca, Buttercup. She's taken.
That thing is too complicated. Lots to break.
She's a particular lady, but the rewards more than match the effort.
That means you agree but don't want her to know. But she's just a thing.
Someone's jealous. She has that effect.
Someone's an arse. You're an arse. Stop doing that. I can hear how you're looking at me. You're doing that thing where you describe what we're doing.
Narration, and you can hear how I'm looking.
That's the thing. Just stop it.
I will try my best not to do the impossible. So it was just you, alone in the vast wilderness.
What are you on about?
The lone wanderer searching the world. What's he trying to find? Love? Absolution?
Try someone with a strong arm and stronger will to fight Darkspawn.
Yes, but what does that represent?
Wanting to kill more Darkspawn.
You're just like Sebastian. Let's talk about your dark and troubled past.
Excuse me?
Well, you have one, of course. Someone dear to you, someone you failed to save. Or a grave error in judgment, causing too many deaths. I've known a couple of people like that. Oh, maybe betrayal. That's always good.
No.
Well, you've got to give me something.
No, I don't. This conversation is over.
Touchy. All right, hero. What do we talk about?
What do you mean?
You don't want to talk about yourself. I can respect that. So what do we talk about then?
I don't suppose you follow jousting?
I'm a free marcher, remember? We invented jousting.
That's not actually true, you know.
It is. Before us, no one ever thought to push people off things with large sticks. Historical fact.
All right. Greatest night in history. My money's on Lady Honorine Chastain. No one's ever come close to unhorsing more riders than her. I've seen her joust live, and I have to tell you, up close, she has magnificent technique.
Her victory in the Grand Tourney of Tanterville is pretty legendary, but I'd have to go with Riveza. Winning 3 consecutive Grand Tourneys, who does that?
Could you two find something, anything, to talk about?
Hey, you know, they're holding a Grand Tourney in Markham soon. I think we should all go. Inquisition road trip.
There's got to be trouble or something up near Markham.
No.
I'll talk to Josephine. I bet she can pull some strings.
Winning while barely clinging to your horse may count, but it's not exactly the stuff of legend, is it?
That depends entirely on who's writing the legend, hero.
You can't really think Reeve Acer is a better knight than Honorine Chastain. Her record is flawless. 400 jousts, never unseated. No one's ever come close to it.
Oh, she's easily the most skilled. That's a fact. It's just, scrappy is better than flawless. I like heroes who try their damnedest, even if they fail a lot. It's easy to be valiant when you always win and everything goes your way. There's nothing great in that. You remind me of someone. Pious bastard. Wore blinding white armor. Told me my shots veered left.
I can see how that describes me perfectly.
It was just all that niceness. He was just so nice.
Nice. Right. I take it you didn't like this person.
Sebastian would have taken that as a compliment. Maybe I've been too hard on you.
Oh, so you don't think I'm dreadful now?
Actually, I thought you were boring before. Completely different. We're all dreadful. Every one of us fundamentally flawed in 100 different ways. That's why we're here, isn't it? Take all the risks so the good people stay home where it's safe. With the whole Blackwall thing, you told a story so compelling even you started to believe it.
That's much nicer than saying you're a dirty liar. I'll take it.
A storyteller's got to believe his own story or no one will. Cassandra still not speaking to you?
I don't know. It'll take time to earn back her trust, if I ever do.
Well, she does hate it when people lie to her. At least she didn't stab you in the book.
Don't you mean the back?
No, I mean the book. Definitely the book.
Is it true that Kirkwall's Knight Commander became a statue?
Absolutely true. She's still there, bringing an extra dose of horror to gallows tourists.
No one's moved it. I mean her.
And make it impossible for children to play Who's Brave Enough to Poke Meredith.
They don't actually do that, do they?
No, no one's brave enough to poke Meredith.
You are quite the artist with that bow, Varick.
Bianca does most of the work.
You have to aim her. Precisely. I don't think I could do that.
Too attached to hitting things with your fists?
Exactly. And just being in the thick of it.
I'll stick with bows. I really like having my own teeth.
I've been to Kirkwall. The Hanged Man, actually. Probably been 20 years now. It was a dive, if I remember correctly.
It's the dive, filled with the best and worst people in the world.
Yes, I heard it was a haunt of yours.
Haunt? It was home. Have a name for the sword?
Slasher? Gasher? How about Pokey?
Go with Pokey. You seem like a Pokey guy.
I read some of your book. Hard in Hightown, was it? Riveting stuff.
And you only read some?
Well, I found it in a latrine in a village near Cherno. It was missing some pages. I once met a dwarf who made the best home-brewed ale.
I once met a Grey Warden who got possessed by a spirit and then blew up a chantry and killed 100 people. What makes people think you want to hear what others of your kind have done anyway? How do you like being described, as grizzled or masculine?
Do I really have a choice?
No, I was just being polite. Going with grizzled, then. All right, worst thing you've ever eaten. I had this imported ham from Anderfell's once. It tasted like despair, literally.
But you probably got to wash it down with an expensive wine. Mine was 2-year-old hardtack. You can't scrape off the blue anymore. You just try not to look. I've got one for you, Varick. Best tavern name you've ever seen. I'm torn between the bed and bucket and the bottom of the barrel.
Oh, that's a tough one. I think I have to go with the neighbor's house, for sheer balls.
This guard captain from Kirkwall that you're friends with.
She's stronger than you.
Right. Just checking.
I know this is a radical suggestion, but have you considered just talking to her?
No, never occurred to me. End of story. So, worst place you've ever been?
Well, that would depend on whether or not I was there alone.
You're gonna make me talk to her, aren't you?
Just try hello. So, hero, you and Josephine.
No. No, you are not getting me into this conversation.
Content to pine in silence, gazing at the dear ambassador from afar.
Can we talk about something else? Revasa. Revasa is the best, you were right.
I could help, you know. Nothing stirs the heart like a well-written word.
You're suggesting I woo the lady with someone else's words? You really want me on that path again?
Oh, yeah, that idea. Let's just forget I said anything.
That's some good armor.
Are you referring to me?
Some high-ranking women wear ornamental crap with tits hammered into it. One good shot, and all that cleavage gets knocked right into the sternum. Real messy. Good on you for going practical.
I aim to please.
Leave something to the imagination, too. That was some solid work back there, Seeker.
You as well.
The way you backhanded that guy with your shield and then damn near chopped him in half. You and the boss should use that between the sheets.
How do you know we haven't already?
Ha! Any chance I could have the boss borrow your armor later? For, personal reasons.
No.
I'd clean it after.
Absolutely not.
Ugh. Hey, are you as turned on as I am right now?
Am I what?
That's probably impossible anyway. You know, Seeker, your style doesn't have to be so defensive.
Excuse me?
You've got armor. Let them scratch the paint a bit. You can wind up for a shot that'll really ring their bell. Some part of you wants to just cut loose. I can feel the frustration in your swings.
How odd, since I'm feeling so much less frustrated as of late.
Ha! I'd offer to help you get rid of that frustration, but you know, I'm in a committed relationship.
Unlucky me.
You need any help with that frustration back at camp, let me know.
It's never going to happen.
Apologies for giving offense. I will stop making invitations, Seeker.
I was not offended, nor did I say you should stop. So long as we're both clear, it's never happening.
Works for me.
You'd feel far more if I actually hit you.
That's right. Let it out.
I enjoy fighting at your side, Bull.
Same here, Seeker.
But I will also enjoy returning to the base and sinking slowly into a steaming hot bath sprinkled with rose petals.
Oh, now you're just being mean. I mean roses. Who has sex smelling like roses? Violets, or a nice frangipani, maybe. Put some horns on you, you'd make a pretty good Kunari.
I am not certain that's a compliment.
You know, the Ben Hasrith are a lot like your Seekers, Cassandra.
I highly doubt that.
Maintaining justice in the ranks, operating under a veil of secrecy, investigating corruption and threats to the order, and we deal with it all so quietly. Most people never notice.
Interesting. Though we do not break the minds of our prisoners.
Well, keep at it. You guys will get there.